Good evening and welcome to the news at 5 on Channels Television. I'm Anne Mwawadu. Our top stories this hour. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs Yusuf Tugar says the country's constitution firmly protects religious freedom and does not permit persecution on religious grounds. His remarks follow U.S. President Donald Trump's recent comments suggesting military intervention over alleged targeted killings of Christians in Nigeria. Speaking at a press conference in Berlin, Mr. Tugar emphasized that no arm of government supports or condones religious oppression, warning against narratives that could inflame division. He cautioned that framing insecurity as a religious conflict risks deepening tensions, drawing parallels to Sudan's fragmentation driven by ethnic and faith-based divisions. In his words, "We've seen what has happened with Sudan, with agitations for the partitioning of Sudan based on religion, based on tribal sentiments, and you can see the crisis even when the partitioning was done according to religion or according to tribe." End of quote. While President Trump claims Christians are being systematically attacked by extremist groups, the Nigerian government insists violence affects citizens across religious lines. Meanwhile, China has firmly opposed the United States' use of religious and human rights to meddle in Nigeria's affairs, and that's after Washington threatened a possible military action over alleged killing of Christians in the north. During a news conference in Beijing today, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning says that religion and human rights is not an excuse to interfere with other countries' internal affairs and threaten them with sanctions and force. She says as Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner, China firmly supports the Nigerian government in leading its people on the development path suited to its national conditions. On Saturday, U.S. President Donald Trump threatened Nigeria with possible military action for the alleged killing of Christians, which claims that Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. He also accused radical Islamists of being responsible for mass slaughter. Away from that now, the Nigerian Immigration Service has dismissed claims made by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan representing Kogi Central that immigration officers withheld her passport at the airport. According to the service public relations officer, Akinshola Akinlabi, who spoke to Channels Television on Saturday, the lawmaker was never stopped from traveling. He explains that the interaction she had with immigration personnel was simply part of the routine clearance process every traveler undergoes. Ms. Akinlabi also stressed that the senator's travel documents were returned after standard checks and that she continued her journey without obstruction. He emphasized that officers on duty were merely carrying out their lawful responsibilities. Earlier in the day, Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan had taken a live Facebook broadcast claiming she was being unjustly barred from boarding her flight, alleging the officials had seized her passport. The NIS maintains that the procedure was routine and lawful. The Green Chamber is experiencing a rowdy session following a motion on alleged illegal and criminal allocation of federal government lands in International Trade Fair Complex. And that motion, sponsored by Representatives Ademori Kuye, proposed that an investigation be carried out by an ad hoc committee. But several members opposed that proposal, insisting on the Committee on Commerce, which is a standing committee, and under those purview of motion falls. Following voting on the motion, the Deputy Speaker, who is the presiding person, ruled in favor of the initial proposals. Several members sustained their anger and voted against subsequent motions, but were repeatedly overruled by the Deputy Speaker. The lawmakers insist that no other motion will be taken as they repeatedly shut down any member who stood up to present a motion. Efforts to calm the members proved abortive, and the Deputy Speaker called for an executive session. The police is strengthening its digital capacity in order to withstand modern security challenges in Nigeria. And today, the focus is on the South-South region, and officers of the Nigeria Police Force drawn from Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, and River State are all undergoing training on information and communication technology, artificial intelligence, and other digital skills. For the police force, policing is not just about tools or software, but about reorienting the personnel's mindset to embrace technology.
In today's fast-changing world, where technology has become both a tool and a threat, no security agency can remain effective without constant learning and adaptation. It is why this 5-day training aims to strengthen professionalism, accountability, and operational efficiency within the force.
While using that for maybe your snapping and evidence, how do you name the file?
The training with the theme, Building Digital Capacity, seeks to equip police trainers, the custodians of knowledge within the force, with digital expertise that can pass on to officers nationwide.
This program, as shall so be revealed to you, will cover ICT fundamentals for policing. That is, digital literacy, database management, cyber hygiene, artificial intelligence application. You will also be taught on use of AI in criminal investigations, facial recognitions, predictive policing, and intelligent analysis.
Our children today, you give a 9-year-old, the way our 9-year-old will play with our phones, I'm sure some of us as fathers cannot play with our phones like that. And it's the same thing when it comes to security. Security keeps changing. Criminality keeps changing. So we are determined to ensure that our police officers are ICT savvy. And we are not going to stop until we get it right.
Retraining the police is not a luxury, but a necessity as it bridges the gap between traditional policing methods and emerging digital realities, preparing officers to operate effectively in both physical and virtual spaces. These sessions challenges participants to rethink the role of technology in policing. The program also underscores the value of collaboration.
Training program on ICT, artificial intelligence, and digital skills is designed to equip police instructors with the tools to adapt and teach, lead effectively in these digital areas. We believe that when we strengthen the knowledge base of the trainers, we multiply the impact across the entire system. That's exactly what this initiative stands for.
These hands-on activities encourages officers to adopt innovative approaches to enhance investigation accuracy, coordination, and citizen engagement.
The High Court in Oyo has directed the People's Democratic Party, the PDP, and its acting national chairman, Umar Damagum, to go ahead with the party's national convention slated for November the 15th in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. This order was issued by Justice Akintola after considering an ex parte motion filed by Mr. Folahan Malomo Adelabi. In the suit filed yesterday, the PDP, Mr. Damagum, the Governor, Omar Fintiri of Adamawa State, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, were all listed as respondents. Mr. Adelabi also requested the court to grant an interim injunction preventing the defendants from suspending, altering, or obstructing the approved guidelines, the timetable and schedule for the National Convention, which is for the 15th and the 16th this year, where new national officers are expected to be elected. He further sought an order compelling PDP, Mr. Damagum and Mr. Fintiri, to comply strictly with the adopted convention arrangements pending the determination of the substantive motion. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court has given the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, till November the 5th to defend the alleged terrorism charges against him or waive his right to do so. The presiding judge, Justice James Omotosho, made this announcement after Mr. Kanu failed for the 4th day to enter his defense after the prosecution closed its case and the court overruled his no-case submission. Justice Omotosho says, should Mr. Kanu fail to open his defense on November the 5th, he will be deemed to have waived his right to do so. The court had on October the 27th adjourned till November the 4th, for Mr. Kanu to either file his final written address or open his defense. At the day's proceedings, Mr. Kanu, who is conducting his case by himself, said he has not filed any final written address or ordered by the court, but filed a motion and a supporting affidavit. Mr. Kanu says that he will not enter any defense because he was convinced that there is no valid charge known as any extant law that is pending against him. And it's a day of a political history, music and celebration in Bayelsa State as Governor Duyediri formally joined the All Progressives Congress, ending more than 2 decades of continuous People's Democratic Party rule in the state. The governor was received by the Vice President, Senate President, APC National Chairman, and several state governors in the ceremony that drew thousands to the Samson Siasia Sports Stadium in Yenagoa. And beyond that excitement, the event marks a significant realignment in Bayelsa's political landscape.
It was a carnival-like atmosphere at the Samson Siasia Sports Complex in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State's capital. Dancing, singing and cheers filled the air as Governor Duyediri and key members of his administration officially joined the All Progressives Congress. For the first time since 1999, Bayelsa State, a stronghold of the People's Democratic Party, now has a governor under the banner of the ruling APC. The event attracted top APC leaders, including the Vice President, Senate President, the APC National Chairman, and several governors from across the Federation.
These are your people. These are your voters. South is one. You have 100% come 2027. May the Lord bless Governor Diri for this decision.
Today you take over as a leader of our party in Bayelsa State. Welcome our leader in Bayelsa.
The national chairman of the APC, while presenting Governor Diri with a symbolic broom and party flag, described his entry as a sign of political maturity and a bold step towards inclusive governance.
The traders have spoken. The workers have spoken. In one voice, Bayelsa said, we are now APC.
Governor Diri, who resigned from the PDP on October 15, said his decision to defect to the APC is born out of the need to align Bayelsa's development with national priorities and reward federal government support to the state.
So there is so much we can do together by aligning with the federal government that has shown us the will and the direction that they love Ijaw people, that they love Bayelsa State. Don't let anybody deceive you. Anybody who is telling you otherwise is for his own selfish program. Yeah, his own. Yeah.
The vice president, who led the delegation of federal leaders, described Governor Diri's entry as a unifying moment for the nation and praised his leadership and humility.
You have expanded roads to remote communities and assured them that they are not forgotten. You have built bridges where there were barriers. You have lit homes where there was darkness. This is what it means to govern with empathy. From the Sagbama Ekeremo Highway to the Yenagoa Oporoma Bridge, you have connected lives.
Governor Diri was accompanied by members of the State Executive Council, 17 members of the Bayelsa House of Assembly, 2 senators, and several members of the House of Representatives who also defected to the APC.
And we'll find out the latest development in Gombe State and what the government is doing according to helping citizens carry them along. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Let's head to Gombe State now, where the government is pledging to continue to carry the people along in its development agenda for the citizens of the state. The Deputy Governor of Gombe State, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, stated this at the state government's public consultation meeting on the 2026 budget. The exercise is organized by the State Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning and the State Ministry of Finance and Economic Development to aggregate inputs from citizens across the state.
This is the 6th edition of the Gombe State public consultation meetings that always precedes the state's budget, as institutionalized by Governor Inuwa Yahaya in tandem with his administration's policy of inclusivity and international best practices since coming into power in 2019. The meeting provided officials of the state government to state some of the deliverables in the last 6 years, including the 228 primary healthcare facilities across 114 wards, over 900 kilometers of roads under network, and an ultra-modern 3-arm zones consisting of High Court and House of Assembly complexes and the State Secretariat.
People think that government are the elected persons. No. Government is more of the people that did the elections. Those that elect the elected persons are more of the government. And it is because of that that we in Gombe, we say we will never prepare a budget without bringing them. Like Abiela will always tell you, you cannot shave my head in my absence.
For 2026, we expect to listen to our citizens, the youth, the women, the traditional leaders, and all members of society, civil society organizations, and all individual citizens of Gombe, to express their views, express their needs, their desires, their wants, so that the state will capture all those requirements within the budget for 2026.
While appreciating citizens' inclusion and participation, participants are vocal enough to make demands on the government as touching the 2026 budget.
What we are calling for is to make sure that the present administration has completed all capital projects, so that whoever that is coming, even if he doesn't have that mind of continuity, at least our resources will not be in vain, will not be wasted.
You can see the caliber of people that are here, different ages, different group, and all. That means they value their citizens. They value the voices of people in the state.
The state government believes that carrying the people along is key to the administration's development plans.
There is nothing a government can achieve without the advices, the input of the citizens of Gombe State. And we have seen it. That is the reason why His Excellency is getting the cooperation and assistance of all and prayers of all the citizens of Gombe State, because once he says he's going to do it, he does it.
As testament to citizen engagement and commitment to implementation, the government of Gombe State has revealed a recent positive ranking by budget, placing the state over 80% budget implementation in the health sector.
In Edo State, the government has pledged to continue with reconstruction and repair work on federal roads in deplorable conditions in the state in order to ease the suffering of residents. Governor Kweholo, who made the remark in the course of his visit to the Ogege-Olobo axis of the Benin-Sapele Road during the weekend, disclosed that his administration will follow major interventions on deplorable federal roads, pursue reimbursements of funds utilized in their reconstruction or repairs.
So we can see that this session is the 10.15 kilometer that was just considered by the Federal Ministry of Works when the Excellency Minister came to Edo State and handed it over to the Edo State government. And you can see that our governor is being proactive. We are still in the premier phase. The contractor was on the 23.2 kilometer and now is here to finally give this other session to the contractor. And we can see that at the middle, they are already excavating for the drain. So when you talk about palliative, this section of this road is around 13.5 from 13,500 all the way down to 16.00. The material here is an unsuitable material, very, very clay. It cannot absorb water. So that is why the U drain is going to be at the middle. It's going to be up to 7.5 meter wide to carry the water away and channel it over towards the bypass where there's going to be a discharge point.
See, the road is terribly bad, very, very bad. I think the best way to go is the way we are going now, to fix this road by ourselves and later revert back to the federal government. So what we are doing is to keep this place safe for our people to apply.
In the world of business, President Bola Tinubu has asked the National Assembly to approve a fresh 1.15 trillion naira borrowing from the domestic debt market to finance the deficit in the 2025 budget. The request was contained in a letter read during Tuesday's state plenary session. According to the president, the proposed loan will help bridge the funding gap and ensure the effective implementation of key government programs and projects outlined in the 2025 fiscal plan. Senate President Godswill Akpabio subsequently referred the request to the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt to further consider and direct the committee to report back within 1 week. Vice President Kashim Shettima and other economic stakeholders have asked African countries to expand the adoption of Islamic finance as a pathway to inclusive and sustainable economic transformation across the continent. Represented by Dr. Tope Falswa, Special Advisor to the President on Economic Matters, Mr. Shettima made the call while addressing delegates at the 7th African International Conference on Islamic Finance held in Lagos. Speaking on the theme, Africa Emerging, a Prosperous and Inclusive Outlook, the Vice President emphasized that Africa's demographic advantage must translate into shared prosperity, stressing that the continent's true success will be measured not just by economic growth, but by inclusiveness. And women in the healthcare network have reaffirmed their commitment to advancing healthcare delivery and empowering women professionals across Nigeria's health ecosystem. Speaking at its annual conference in Abuja, the group emphasized the need for stronger mentorship, collaboration, and leadership opportunities for women in the sector. And that event brought together key stakeholders from public and private health institutions to discuss strategies for improving access to quality care, promoting innovation, and addressing gender gaps in the health workforce. To which it says its goal is to build a more inclusive and resilient healthcare system for Nigerians.
Women in Healthcare Network is discussing Rooted in Wellness, Rising with Purpose. As expected, women dominate the number of participants. The two-year-old network believes that meetings like this emphasize the contribution of women to keeping the Nigerian population healthy by empowering women who are within and outside the country.
We believe strongly that we ourselves need to be rooted in wellness. Without us being well, there's actually not much that we could actually contribute, either in our homes, to other people, and certainly to one another in this wider network that we've already established.
One of the key pillars of the Nigeria Health Sector Renewal Initiative is to strengthen the human resource workforce for health, including the continuation of development of women who form the backbone of the system. This conference exemplifies the vision.
The keynote address is concerned with the representation of women in the healthcare sector, even from the academic level.
An increasing women that are in the medical studies. In Spain, we have more female medical students than male, and also in the science and technology, the engineering studies, we have more women now. But this is also particularly due to efforts that are being made. I have been in contact with the professor responsible for gender and diversity at the Technical University Munich, and he did effort getting more women studying engineering. So that's also something that we can think how we can actually see that the pipeline of fantastic women that I see here, that this is actually continuous. And I very much like what you say, that these young women are fantastic.
As with other things, progress in the sector is connected to technology.
First of all is having a data framework, an AI data framework for health specifically, following FHIR standards, and making sure that when vendors or third-party data requesters want to request for data, they are following certain standards. And so, for instance, having a national health database, for instance, where the code goes to the database and not the data going to the code. And so when people want to request for that data, they are following certain standards. There's interoperability as well. And most of the exchange that happens within the health sector is also monitored by this board.
The conference highlights the group's strides in building a supportive platform for women professionals through impactful initiatives, including virtual learning sessions, mentorship programs, and wellness campaigns.
And that's it on the news at 5. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ann Wao.